Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And this afternoon, I am speaking with Fiona Flaherty.
Thank you.
I hope I pronounced your name right, Fiona.
Yes, it is related to Oscar Wilde.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So, my question to you is, what do you enjoy doing activity-wise when you're not working?
Oh, that's an easy one. I like to spend most of my time with my head closer to the ground than my feet. So I'm an absolute fan of Pilates and yoga.
Ah,
Uh, I'm an attendee. I don't teach it. I don't profess to know a lot about it, but I've been doing it for about 20 years. One of the pluses, I think, is we spend an awful lot of time on our feet. We spend a lot of time sitting. Therefore, our knees are bent in, right angles. Our feet and ankles are again in right angles. And there's nothing nicer when you feel your blood rushing to the top of your head, filling your ears, and you actually change color because you're now pink, pinker than you were.
mm,
But it really improves how you feel about things. Because for everything else in life, if you had a bottle of squash or whatever, we would shake it, we would turn it upside down. We used to do it with
yeah.
cartons and bottles of milk. We stir tea, we stir coffee, but when do we ever get turned upside or
I know
down or
that's
get
true,
turned?
isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my what do I do? I'm an attendee of classes, so I do go to the gym. Um, I laugh at all the people in the gym lifting weights and sweating because that's not how to improve yourself. And it's also a nice contrast because you don't have a phone, you don't have a doorbell, you don't have a letterbox. Nobody can call you by your first name. You can't be called mum or gran or aunt or the wife. You can't be referred to absolutely anything. It's your space and you live on your mat. And woe betide, somebody comes close to you, everybody comes territorial, but you have your mat and that is your space for an hour at a time. So to me, my daily activity is I get up and I do a few stretches, but classes are about an hour. And it's such an affordable activity. So you can do at home because you can watch online. You might do it from current practice, so you've learnt the moves. There's no talking, but actually people get to know each other an awful lot. Because as you're coming out of class, that's when people talk because it's given them time to reassemble where they are. And most of us don't have time to reassemble where we are because our 2 feet and our nose and our feet are in the same direction, are always taking us away from where we have just been. And I think once you master that, it's lovely. And to me, it's playtime for adults. It's great.
It's very
It
true though,
is.
isn't it? We
Yeah.
if you sort of pare it back, that's right. We're sitting, as you say, or standing or walking, but we're not in any other position apart from in bed. So, and we spend what, 8 7 8 hours lying down, but we're asleep and the body's repairing itself. Yet, when we're doing yoga and Pilates, it's a totally different element, isn't it?
Oh, totally different. And I think there's the benefits, and I think you've outlined it, Caroline. There's only a couple of things we have to do in life, apart from be born and have to die. The bit in the middle to me is eating, great stuff, sleeping, and movement. And really, it doesn't matter what your role in life is, however you earn your income, however you feel you're at the rest of the time, they're the key things you need because then you start to socialize and everything has a benefit. And the benefit of sleeping is, do you know the body actually shrinks about 2 inches in height as the day goes on?
Mm.
Compression. So actually, when you're sleeping, even if you think you're curled up, you've completely extended. So you think it's the first time you've actually uncoiled. So
Mm.
that's the benefits again of a great sleep. And the nice thing about particularly yoga is they give you a little snooze at the end.
Yes, I have a story to tell about a snooze at the end.
Ah, you can tell all.
Yes,
And it's a
so
bit of a test about who snores first.
well, yeah, that's very true. I don't know whether I snored, but many years ago, when I was married and I used to go to yoga, it was hatha yoga, The class was brilliant, and the last bit, as you say, was relaxing, and then you know, and so this poor teacher was due to go to another class, and there was me, the last one in this large hall, fast asleep.
Even better, even better. And if we're nice to you, we just leave you.
Well, she unfortunately she couldn't because she had to lock the hall up, and she couldn't really lock me inside. So yes, that was my story about yoga. But yes, it is very good.
I also think there's a thing about ownership, which is nice because the conversations are very different. Um, Gone are the days when you had to dress up like the Green Goddess. So today it's much more acceptable to wear what you feel comfortable in. Studios tend to be much cleaner. So they've got the hygiene, they've got the lighting, and they've got the air conditioning and everything right. But all everybody goes in with and owns is a mat. That's all you own.
Mm.
And if you don't have one, you have one. But it creates a great sense of parity. Um, and it's a great leveler, I think, because whatever's gone on in the day and whatever you've got to go and meet, it's just wonderful. It's such a pity it's not taught in school on the curriculum. I know they do it in nurseries, a lot of nursery, and they do it in a lot of primary schools. So they teach them the basics. But you think when you're in primary and nursery, you sit on the floor a lot.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to, if you look at children who are, say, in assembly sitting on the floor, they've all got their own space, but they can personalize it hands behind, hands in front, cross legs, hold your knees up. We don't get to do that as adults.
No, it's true actually, isn't it? Yeah.
All we've got is chairs because we've been told that we have to sit at the table to eat and we lie or loll about on a sofa and a chair. So I think as adults we lose our freedom. You sit on buses and trains and things, and again you're back to your right angles.
Yes. Mm.
So we're not designed to be right angles. If we were, our arms would be as long as our legs.
Yes, yes, very true.
Which means we'd be dragging our knuckles along. When you think about it, your arms, the length of your arms, they're
Yeah.
about three-quarters the length of your legs. So, when else do you get the opportunity to just take up space? It's great. Most
Mm.
of our lives, we're taking up very little space. Tubes and buses, confined in car seats, on a bicycle. Everything we do, we become smaller and smaller.
We do, and it's an automatic thing, isn't it? So we automatically sit down to eat. We automatically stand scrunched up in the tube, or sit down on a train. It's an automatic function, isn't it? But to go to yoga, it's not an automatic function because it's a choice.
It is a choice, and you get a chance to lie down. And I think if you look at, say, primary school again, they always used to have a play corner. So that's where the children could play and talk, but actually it was acceptable to just lie about. But it doesn't exist in secondary, it doesn't exist in university. Very few organisations have chill rooms, a place that you can just think, oh, I think I'll go and have a nap for the afternoon.
I think Google do. They have these sleep pods, don't they?
They do have sleep pods, and I've been into some hedge funds recently, some companies, and they have chill rooms. People still feel guilty about taking time out because it appears that you're not working and you're
Hmm.
paid to work, but actually you get more if you do nothing for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
rather than sit at your desk and just panic or look blindly at what has to be done because your do list gets huge, absolutely huge. So to me, in an ideal world, all organisations ought to have nap times, and they ought to put them in the afternoons, and it should be accepted. And so a lot of people sort of take their nap time as stimulus. So they will cigarette breaks, vaping breaks, coffee breaks, and things like that. What they actually are telling themselves is they need to wake up, but actually they need to rest.
Well, I
And
suppose yes, but it's alien to the majority of people who work 9 to 5 or whatever hours they work to actually do that because it's not the done thing, is it?
no, and it's isn't it sad that society, we've come through all of this, and then we're told to exercise. I prefer the word movement. So it then becomes a punishment if you can't find time because you feel guilty or you don't like it. And therefore you feel that you are being coerced into do something that just doesn't feel very natural. But if it's natural, because if you take countries like China, before they start exits at work, they do their
Tai
exercise.
Chi.
Yeah, they do all of that before they start. And if you went hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but if even if you go back to like communist countries, there's a sense of doing exercise fairly orderly. It's integrative to who you are. And people got it when they used to walk to work and walk, and children when they walk to school.
Mm.
But all of that's gone.
Yes, because it's life is made supposedly easier for us. So we have this routine outside of what they used to do, as you say, in communist countries. I think a lot of it's coming back, isn't it? The elderly in China, all
I know
areas of
Japan.
China and Tokyo, Japan, they do this movement, and I've seen many a YouTube video of little boys of the age of 2 and 3 keeping up with the adults, doing all the dance and the movement and everything. And it's actually great to watch. And maybe we can learn a lesson or two.
I think so. I think it's one of the things that if you were running an organization, you want to get the best out of the contractors, employees, whoever they are, build in time out rather than build in time in. What we want you to achieve in 7.5 hours, start by just building the time out first. Because people will deliver. People will deliver.
Yes, yeah, yes. I think I believe that you're right. Um, but it it appears on the surface to be counterproductive to have time out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than all the time in and you've got to do this, that, and the next thing before X, Y, and Z happens, and so on and so forth. It's rush, rush, rush. Contracts have got to be done. This has got to be done before that, and so on and so forth. And it's all 100 miles an hour.
Mm. And if you want productivity, every single organization, be it a college, school, whatever, it functions on people.
Yes.
So without people, it doesn't work. There's no point
No.
in having a great class and a great teacher if the students or the children, if they were younger, haven't had a great sleep. Then actually let them have a great sleep when they need it. Because they
Mm.
might have had such a disrupted sleep, and then you've got to enforce that 6 hours of concentration, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Quite a
I've just
number of businesses, I believe, are going to 4-day weeks, and they're finding that the productivity for those 4 days as opposed to 5 is far greater, and far more is getting done. So whether those organizations have built in the time out, because they have reduced time to 4 days a week, I don't know.
I think it does. I was doing some research earlier, and I just read a paper on the benefits of sleep. So coincidentally, you asked me the topic, and thank you because it was a surprise, but I'm onto it here. But I have quite a lot of clients, and sleep's the big issue. And people feel guilty because they're not getting it, feel guilty because they're not doing things about it. But what's more interesting is why can't you sleep at work? And it's about acceptance. And there's disruptive sleep could be animals, COVID, cats and dogs, because that's another responsibility, and childcare, pain, ill health, worry. Um, to me, work should be fairly, you're just paid, money is the sign of applause for a job well done. That's called a salary. So if you gave people more time just to be, you would become more productive. Because
Mm,
we've all seen it. We've left ourselves to the deadline. You may criticize yourself for not having the best job, but you get it done. Funny how time catches up with you, but you do get it done.
mm,
And I think companies that allowed post-COVID pandemic, um, people to work from home isn't fantastic for our mental health. And now you can see why. And there's a new pandemic coming along, and it'll be the young people and mental health. And it's because we've lost structure, we've lost contact, and we've lost people.
mm.
Um, So if you're a student and you're working from home, or you're a home worker and the only room is, you don't have the luxury like us of a spare room, or you have to work on a dining table, or indeed in your bedroom, um, you're missing social interaction, you're missing contact, you're not reading people's body language. It's very hard on Teams and Zoom to do 2D
Yeah, it
conversation.
is. Yeah, sort of
Most of us spend, yeah,
down to waste.
exactly. Well, that's one thing. And secondly, is everybody spends their time, we do it when we watch TV, looking behind to see what people have got on the shelves. Lots of books must mean they read a lot. So our judgments are then become quite personal. Whereas in a work setting, you've all got a desk and a chair, and more or less, or you work in a hospital, you've got a ward, everybody looks the same, dressing the same, and therefore your goals are driven that way.
Mm.
I was invited to do a podcast on Saturday night. We talked about principles, and it was very interesting. It was led by a doctor, a PhD in psychology, and there was a student on there, and I was impressed by what they said. And we looked at where principles sit. Do they come before procedures and policies, or processes, or actually fundamentally do you have to have them? And the one thing that came out of our talk was, unless you're with people, the other P, it's very hard to get policies and procedures and processes to work, because nobody's ever agreed the principles of why it would work or how it would work. And again, that's why, it's a big issue, but you've got to take the time for yourself first. The first thing in your schedule should be what you're going to do for yourself today.
It's a very good point, and I think a great point actually to end our little chit chat. A thought-provoking point for people. And yes, I'd like to thank you for your insightfulness, and what information that you have given, and your thoughts that you have given about people should take time for themselves, as opposed to always chasing the policies and the time that work sets you. I think it's a great emphasis on that.
Let me add one tip. It's quite simply, if you've got a diary, whether you use a diary or as a Google, or you use paper, I use paper and diaries. I have all three because you never know where you might be. I have two pens. So one is always red and one will always be blue. And everything that goes in red is everything I'm going to do for myself. So I make sure that I put everything for myself into my diary first, and everything else for everybody else that way. Most people don't do it that way, because this will have to happen, but unless you put this in first, it gets lost.
It's very true.
It
Very
gets
true.
lost.
Very significant point you make.
Mm.
And on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today, Fiona, and hope it won't be the last chit chat that we have.
Lovely. Great, great opportunity. And you've got some great topics. Thank you.
Thank you.